You're listening to the Cruise Tips TV Unplugged podcast. Guess what, friends? It's that season again. Folks are starting to prepare for their Alaska cruise this year, and we're going to help you out answering all of your questions today. Welcome to Cruise Tips TV Unplugged. I'm your host, Sherry, and we invite you to join our cruise-loving family as we travel the world creating cruise videos and vlogs. In this podcast, we talk tips, tactics, and strategies to help you make every cruise your dream cruise.
So I always look forward to talking about Alaska.
It's the best, isn't it? I love cruising to Alaska. Junior's been asking me when we're going. We don't have anything booked yet, but man, am I itching. It's that time of year. Even though it's like, when it's chilly wherever you are, you don't really dream about going to Alaska. But I certainly do. It's one of my favorite destinations, and we spent a lot of time up there last year, and I think it kind of became a part of my summer plans. So I hope we get to do it again this year.
You know, there's just so much to do up there, and I was thinking about this myself, and I was thinking, it's never the same trip.
Right.
It's never like you have that been there, done that feeling.
Mm-hmm.
There's always something different, something new.
Man, yeah. Yeah, one day you could be doing a helicopter excursion. The next day you could be eating crab. Another time you could be going to a totem village. So much to do, and we haven't even. What's the word? Tapped the surface.
Yeah, I was going to say
scratch the surface. I feel like we haven't. I mean, we've been there probably 10, 15 times, but I feel like like you said, there's just an infinite amount of things to do. And I kind of hope that we can help people to dig a little deeper with Alaska. Some of the questions that we're going to be answering today from our community are kind of about that. Like, what would you do if you wanted to try something different in Alaska? So I did a lot of research around that.
Yeah, I'm thinking you started off with one day you could be on a helicopter tour. Mm-hmm. So I think the way that goes, at least for us, is one day you can be on a helicopter tour, and then you have to wait 10 years to save up.
To do it again. Yeah, that's exactly how it went for us.
It is pricey.
It is pricey. I mean, a minimum of $400 per person, I think, for helicopter tours.
Yeah.
For the most part, it is a lot.
But what an excursion of a lifetime.
Yeah.
There really is nothing like a helicopter tour.
I think so too. The first time I ever went on a helicopter was actually in Hawaii. My mom and I went, just the two of us girls, and we did a helicopter tour around Maui, and I couldn't believe it. I felt like we were floating. We went over to the other side of the island where the road to Hana is, and all of a sudden we were just like descending up a mountain, and then we looked over and there was a waterfall right next to us. It's such a trip.
It is. The experience itself of being on a helicopter is an unusual experience. There really is nothing like it. But then you add the
scenery.
I don't know. I was going to say it has an epic feeling.
Yeah, it does.
In
Epic
Alaska.
is a great word.
It's very epic because just so, it is kind of cinematic. Because
it is.
You can look all around you. And I was wondering, we went on a helicopter ride in Catalina, and I don't remember if that was our first one.
It was the two of us together. It was our first one. I had done the Hawaii thing, but yes, you and I went from somewhere off the coast of California out to Catalina, and it was so quick. It's usually like a couple of hours on a boat, but you cross that channel so fast on a helicopter.
And it was expensive then.
It was an anniversary gift
I bought that as a
me.
surprise for you.
Yeah. It was really fun.
Yeah, but anyway, in Alaska, it's a totally different thing.
Do you remember when you bought me a hot air balloon ride too?
I do, yeah. And
the weather got bad, so we couldn't do it, so we had to postpone it. I mean, you definitely don't want to go up on a hot air balloon when it's windy. So something.
No, you don't want to say, go ahead and chance it. We're good.
We're good.
Take her up.
Definitely not. But anyhow. Well, let's talk about Alaska. We decided to start a little series on Alaska. Now, this may not be a consecutive series where for the next 4 weeks it's all about Alaska, because I have some other things brewing that I do want to share with you all. But we decided to start with a Q&A today to find out what our Facebook group had to ask about Alaska, and boy, did they come through. Really terrific questions. So I'm going to get started with it. You ready?
Ready.
Let's do it. So Jason Peterson said, best cruise line for Alaska, best ports, best excursions. Well, Jason, I think that this series is going to answer that for you. That's a pretty big ask. So what we hope to do is answer that question as we go through all of these sub questions.
Well, if you're answering the best cruise line question, I think what we do is give enough information to where
you can make the decision.
Because it's subjective.
Yeah. I usually, if someone's asking me what the best cruise line is for Alaska, though, I usually tell them, if you're an experienced cruiser and you cruise with one line almost exclusively, you should probably stick with that line for Alaska. But if you're open to exploring a new line, everyone kind of would agree that in the mass market kind of categories that really Princess and Holland America do Alaska so well, and that they're kind of famous for it because they have really good time spent at Glacier Bay. They have the permit for Glacier Bay.
That's the thing. I think Holland America has that leg up.
Oof, man, they do.
They have been doing it so long.
Yeah.
It could be an advantage.
It could be an advantage.
It just depends on what you like and what you're comfortable with.
Getting to Glacier Bay is something to look for. But best ports, best excursions, we're going to hit on that for Jason. So let's answer Stacy's question. Okay, I'm gonna ask you this one if you think you might want to answer it and see what you have to say. What port would you say is a must visit for an Alaska itinerary for someone who might only be Well, okay, let's try that again. Don't cut that out. I think it was funny, hun. This is Stacy. What port would you say is a must visit for an Alaskan itinerary for someone who might only ever be able to do Alaska once? So she wants to know what one port, if you had to pick one. You go ahead and I'll go ahead.
Oh, I don't know.
You can't do it?
Yeah, I don't think I can do it because, the first thing that jumps out is Haines, but that's not even on.
Rare.
Yeah. So, gosh, I don't know.
You're not sure? Okay.
It depends because there are different ways to look at it. Like, where is the place to do the most, right? What offers the most activity?
Yeah.
Or you could be thinking, what's the most scenic?
Right.
Or maybe you want to see the most wildlife.
Yeah.
So it's too tough for me.
I'm going to go ahead, Stacy, and I'm going to say, don't think about the ports, think about the glacier viewing. If you can only do it once, why don't you try to see if you can get a cruise that has 2 glacier days? It's not impossible. If you can hit up Glacier Bay one day and another one another day, that would be a really good goal because all of the Alaskan ports are charming and wonderful in their own way. You've got Skagway, tiny, cute, and great for the train. Ketchikan, very walkable, but very far south and doesn't scream Alaska to me as much. Then you have Juneau with a gazillion things to do. Then you have some of our favorite ports, which are the smaller, more quaint ones that feel very Alaskan. Sitka and Haines are going to be some of those. So I would say get the glacier days onto the cruise and don't worry about the ports.
What if I rephrased the question for you and said, what would be a port that you would be willing to miss?
Ketchikan. Every time.
Okay.
And you know why? I've been there so many times. I do love Ketchikan, but I feel like I have done a lot of things there and I've experienced it more deeply than a lot of other places just because it's on literally every itinerary. So there's things I want to explore in other ports more. Nothing wrong with Ketchikan. It's cute. I love it. It's walkable. But I've done the adventure cart there. I've done the totem village. I've done the lumberjack show. I've done a Zodiac ride. I mean, we've done so many things there that I feel like I could explore other things more. You?
Nah, I'm not going to
You're
answer.
not. Oh, great. Okay. Fair is fair.
No one cares what I think. Come on now.
Yeah. Sarah M. says, are there any special touches that Princess does on their Alaska cruise? Like Holland America has the pea soup, right? So I looked into this because I'm not sure if Princess still has puppies in the Piazza, but if they still have puppies in the Piazza, and I really couldn't get a straight answer on their website, I think that is one of the things that's cool. One of the things that's nice about Princess too is they really do bring on board Alaskan seafood so that you can enjoy that. I had the best crab legs I've ever had in my life on a Princess cruise to Alaska. They also do bring local personalities on board. Like there's a veteran dog musher named Libby Riddles, and oftentimes they bring her on. But when it just comes down to how they do the cruises more beautifully, I guess you could say that there's some things that would impact your desire maybe to book with Princess. Not so much that little things on board, but they have a lot of tours a lot of cruises that go to Glacier Bay. That's a thing. But if you're doing a cruise tour, they've got 5 lodges and they've got rail service. So those are big reasons to cruise with Princess on a cruise tour. So, yeah, I mean, I think all of the cruise lines do Alaska beautifully in their own way. They all have little things that make them special. Holland America, the thing that's really nice about Holland America for Alaska is the size of the ships. When you're on a slightly smaller ship, there's an intimacy that is very special in that area of the world. And I feel like sometimes you miss fewer ports on Holland America, and you get to spend a little more time in the ports and around the glacier. So for me, that's, I love Princess, and I want to do Princess with Alaska again. I think we've done it 5 or 6 times, and I hope to do it again, even maybe this summer. But I feel like Holland America has some super strong selling features if you're okay with small ships. If you're cruising with a kid or a teen, though, I think Princess might be a little better. More stuff to do and more kids and teens. Kim C says, what are the best tips to maximize your time in Glacier Bay or other glacier viewing? She's going in May on Norwegian Encore, and this actually, Glacier Bay is why Kim Cunningham picked it. So, okay, couple things to maximize your glacier time, Kim. Number 1, my dear, get up as early as you can if it's an early glacier day. So if they say, hey, we're getting into the glacial passage at 6 a.m. and we're going to be to the glacier by 8, I would be out on my balcony with coffee, bundled up in a blanket and very warm clothes as early as I could muster. Also, a little tip for you. Try to view the glacier from as many different places on the ship as you can. Here are the 3 places I want you to go and view the glacier. Number 1, if you're in a balcony, from your balcony, and don't worry, the captain will rotate the ship when you're at the glacier to make sure you get to see it. Number 2, I want you to go to the aft of the ship if there's a viewing area there. And I also want you to go to the very front of the ship, way high up, if you can, and just see how different it feels to view the glacier from those 3 places. Lastly, Kim, if your cruise ship has a promenade deck that is outdoors, go down to that promenade deck. The difference between the promenade deck and the upper decks is that it's sheltered from wind, rain, and weather. It's also lower down and closer to the water. The glacier is going to look different from all 4 of these places that I've told you, and it is magical. I will tell you, I see a lot of photographers with their big lenses, not up at the top of the decks, not up high, not at the pool deck. They're on that promenade deck down by the, the sort of the area where everyone walks, midship, low, and they're getting their calving pictures and their really great wildlife pictures down low. So walk around, be outside as much as you can tolerate, get a nice breakfast and some coffee in you, and be outside. And go enjoy the naturalist talks if they have them. Listen to the naturalist. They are fascinating. They will tell you about how far away these people live, the naturalists and their teams to get to the ships to come aboard. Every moment of that glacier day should be just soaked up. It's amazing. All right. Alicia Renee said, I went to Alaska in 2023 with my mom and I loved it. I want to know a few different excursions you'd recommend, not just well-known stuff like helicopter tours or the White Pass train ride. Okay. So Alicia, I did some digging for you and I have some really unique and different tours for you to do. Okay. Listen to these tours in Skagway. You can take a tour. It's like a motor coach tour to a place called Bridal Veil Falls. It's like a beautiful waterfall. And sometimes that includes other stops as well. Also in Skagway, did you know that they have a bus, puppy camp, and lunch tour? My son would go crazy for that one. That's what I would want to do if we went to Skagway. Also, if you're visiting Skagway and you want to do something different, go to the Yukon. There are tours that take you beyond the White Pass, and that's amazing. Now, if you want to do something different in Juneau, Alicia, I don't know if you've ever done the Salmon Bake. I know that's a really common tour. I do recommend it for anybody who hasn't done it because the Salmon Bake is fun. But if you want to do something different, try a kayak or a canoe or a rafting excursion on Mendenhall Lake or around the glacier. That can be beautiful. Also, in Juneau, Shore Excursions Group has a meditation walk tour that we mentioned this a couple years ago on we did a special podcast on like shore excursions you've never heard of. And that meditation walk happens to be in Juneau. So hopefully, Alicia, that gives you some food for thought, at least in Skagway and Juneau, on some new things to do. All right. Trixie says she's going on 2 Alaska cruises next spring, side by side. And she's going to be doing Holland America and Norwegian, which is wild. And Trixie said, are there any food tips on Holland America? So yeah, Trixie, the steakhouse is really good. All of the specialty is really good on Holland America. So if you can budget for that, I would budget for it. But one thing I do love about Holland America is their salad bar at their buffet. They'll actually make you a salad in a fancy, pretty bowl. Their buffets are staff served, and the food quality is incredibly high. Also on Holland America, they keep a secret stash of bread pudding at the buffet that they usually don't put out. Usually it's over by the ice cream and it's in a heated dish that they have to serve to you. So if in doubt, ask, where is the bread pudding? It's a secret on Holland America. Otherwise, it depends on what ship you're on, where, what tips I would give you. But another thing is be sure to go to Dutch Night in the dining room. Dutch Night is so fun. Pack a little something orange. You could also go to our Amazon shop and you could look for, I have a whole Holland America Orange Night idea list there. You could shop for your orange wear there. So if you wanted to check that out, you just go to amazon.com/shop/CruiseTipsTV and then enjoy some Dutch food on Dutch Night. It's going to be really fun. So Trixie also said, which ports are good for doing a DIY excursion? And the answer to that is Ketchikan and Juneau are both pretty good to do your own thing. Like you can walk around Ketchikan without an excursion or self-guided. And Juneau, you can do self-guided ones too. In fact, you can rent a Jeep in Juneau that has narration in it and it'll drive you around. It's not a self-driving Jeep, but it's a guided Jeep. And that could be really fun for you. And then a few other things for Trixie. Trixie said, I want to do some kind of natural things like outdoor hikes, animal encounters. So in Ketchikan, that's where I would hike. They have great hikes in Ketchikan. In Skagway, I would take the train just because it's epic and you have to do it. Sitka is where I would do my whale watching. For sure. Unbelievable. And definitely check with me, Trixie, if you need the recommendation on the shore excursion group we did. The tour that we did there, the whale watching was so epic. I've never seen anything like it in my life. It was, I was almost in tears. It was like whale after whale after whale. So definitely Sitka, your whale watching. Juneau is more popular for whale watching, but in Sitka, it's more intimate and up close. And then for Victoria, Trixie wanted to know what to do there. I would say for you, I would go to Bouchard Gardens. They're beautiful if you have enough time, or go to tea at the Empress or the Gatsby Mansion. All right. Brittany wants to know what to wear to dinner on an Alaska cruise. She's like, I hear it's way more casual in the evenings. And that's what we found to be true too. I mean, you're going to see a lot of jeans, Brittany, a lot of jeans, a lot of sweaters. I think you're safe to kind of keep it more casual. Wouldn't you agree with that?
Totally.
And it's also colder up there. So people tend to just wear what they wore to their excursions. They really do. They'll come back from an excursion in a flannel and a pair of jeans and go to dinner in that. And unless it's formal night, you're good on that. You can do that. Angie Thomas McDonald said, I just booked Norwegian Encore. Wait, is this another Norwegian Encore person? Wow. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Another Norwegian person here. Okay. Angie said, just booked another one on Encore for 2026. Any advice for a solo cruiser? And are the ports in Alaska safe? So to answer your question, I think Alaska is probably some of the safest ports that there are out there. In general, I've never heard of anyone having any issues with theft or robbery or taxi scams, or even really most of that stuff. It's not a factor. All the shore excursion providers are very much insured, and you should be totally fine everywhere doing solo stuff up there, even especially Victoria, Canada, super safe. Now for your solo cruising advice, Angie, I would say there's going to be meetups for solos on Encore on day one, because you're going to be, if you're staying in a solo cabin in that solo, what do they call it? It's like a complex on Norwegian, right? You're going to have a host who's going to do get-togethers and host stuff. So if you want to meet other people, I would definitely recommend doing that. And then, Yeah, I think get involved in your roll call on Facebook too, Angie. And as far as best excursions are considered, are concerned, I would say just take the advice that we're giving everybody else today. And if anything else sounds good to you, you're good. There are no best excursions for solos probably in Alaska. Any of them will be great. The Lumberjack Show in Ketchikan might be fun if you want to kind of blend in and go do something kind of goofy and campy but fun. But anything you do, even if you went deep sea fishing, it'd be a blast as a solo. So
yeah, and just a side note,
yeah,
if you're looking for a deeper rundown of this stuff, we have multiple articles on our website. We have like the ultimate guide.
Oh yeah, for Alaska.
And in that ultimate guide, there is a mention of all the common ports.
Yep.
And you can drill into any port that you're interested in and get even more information. So you go to that ultimate guide.
So they could search Alaska guide, or they could just search the name of the port on CruiseTipsTV.com and they're going to find it.
Either way, it all kind of like,
it all comes back to,
ties back.
I love it. Okay. Lisa Kennan said, this is a fun one. Lisa said, what do I do in Ketchikan on a budget with little time? Our husbands are going fishing and the ladies need something to do. They're going to just be there in August from 6:30 to 3. Okay, so keeping in mind, Lisa, what you said about being on a budget, I was going to tell you if you wanted to do something wild, try the Zodiac Tour or the Adventure Cart, but those are kind of pricey. So here's some fun things to do on a budget, Lisa, and this you can determine with your friends would be best. You can do a pub crawl in Ketchikan, which is really funny. I did not know you could do that, but they have that one available on the Shore Excursions group website. You can walk around town and not spend a dime, and you probably have a blast doing that. Go buy popcorn, go buy souvenirs. They sell everything from Alaskan-made knives that they can ship home to you to use in your kitchen to handmade jewelry. I mean, anything you could ever want. Another thing that's really fun in Ketchikan is the duck tour. Those amphibious tours that start on land and they end in the water. Those are fun with a group of girls. Also, if you're interested in doing totems, the Saxman Native Village Totem Tour is pretty cheap and would work with your time. So all of those things should work with your timing. And just if it makes you feel any better, Lisa, everybody's visits in Ketchikan are usually short. Most people are either there from like 7 to 1, 6 to 3, or they're there in the afternoon from like, noon to 5. So you're not alone. Unfortunately, it just kind of happens. Meg Victoria said, what are the pros and cons of the main cruise lines that go there to Alaska? Inside versus outside? How far in advance did you book? That kind of thing. So, okay. So pros and cons of the main lines that go there. This could be a whole show. So I think what we need to do is a whole show on this, Meg, for you, like what cruise lines, go to Alaska and what the pros and cons are. And I'm going to dig deeper into that on another episode because I think there's too much to say. But I would say in general, it depends on your demographic and kind of what you're looking for. But in short, Holland America and Princess and Celebrity are in the mainstream are going to attract a slightly older crowd, with Holland America being the oldest crowd of all three of those in the mass market. But they also offer, those three lines also offer a wonderful, kind of more intimate Alaska-ish experience. Carnival, Royal Caribbean, and Norwegian offer their typical experience with some special touches for Alaska. But if you love those lines, it's in your best interest to stay with them because you might like the Carnival experience, the Norwegian experience, the Royal Caribbean experience, and those ships might offer things that you want. And you may be disappointed or bored if you venture out and try Princess or Holland America. If you're used to rock climbing walls, bumper cars and all that on Royal Caribbean, I'm not going to tell you to try Holland America unless you want to chill for a week, right? The other option is to try a luxury line, Seabourn, Oceana. There's a lot of lines up there that do it very well.
You miss Disney too.
Oh gosh,
and
Disney,
a lot of people are crazy about Disney, especially for Alaska.
And you'll pay $10,000 for a family of 3.
That's probably why you left it out.
Yeah, but I think it's probably because we haven't done it. But Disney does Alaska beautifully from what I've heard. So when it comes, Meg, to outside versus inside cabin, I would really do what you can to book a balcony if you can, because it is so lovely to be able to sit outside and see the inside passage. This isn't like when you're going to the Caribbean and you're just, you see beautiful blue ocean, but there's not much to see outside. There's almost always something spectacular happening outside in Alaska. And the days are long. So it's daylight until up to midnight. If it's, mid-June, you could be daylight past 10 p.m., 11 p.m. and there's a lot to see. So if you can do it, do it. I used to say it's okay to book last minute to Alaska. So she said, how far in advance? I'm going to now revise that and say it's probably best to book as early as you know you want to go and you know you have that time. So Meg, more to come on the different cruise lines that go to Alaska, and we'll break that down for you. Holly says, we love Alaska, went in May, curious about selecting a time to go. What do the different months offer? We love wildlife, and I've heard that timing can matter. Yes. So Holly, it totally can matter. May through September, honestly, the wildlife is good May through September, no matter what. You're going to see wildlife. But here's the timing for each type of wildlife and what to focus on. May and June, if you're really into whale watching, lots of humpbacks and orcas in the area in May and June, and I can totally vouch for that. We saw humpbacks and orcas last year on our early season, and I will tell you, we were so close to the humpbacks that we could smell them. I don't know if you've ever smelled a whale. This is actually really gross and stinky, but they emit like a gas. And we were like, we told the boat driver, we're like, what is that smell? And he's like, oh, that's the whales. And that is how close we were, that you could actually smell them. Now, I know that's a TMI thing, Holly, but it's true. Sitka, Sitka, Sitka for your whale watching if you can do it. And I have a wonderful recommendation for a tour. In fact, I think it's on our YouTube channel. But anyway, alas, that's when you see humpbacks. Now, July and August are bustling with wildlife, though. Other types, seals, sea lions, everything is just out and active in July and August. So if you want like an overall good time to see wildlife, you might want to go in July and August. Now, if you want to see bears, possibly foraging along the coastline, and don't quote me on this, Sherry said I'd see bears in September. Doesn't work that way. But if you want the best chance of seeing bears foraging along the coastline, like from the ship, September can be a good time for that. So best overall wildlife though, Holly, probably July and August, with I think early season for whales is really nice. Okay, so Diane Cupper has our last question today, and she says, what can we do in Prince Rupert? We'll be there June 2025. And for the record, guys, I have never been to Prince Rupert, but it is in British Columbia. It could be a port of call in Canada that you go to, and there's some really neat things to do there. You could do, the ones that get the best reviews are I think it's called Butze, Butze Rainforest Nature Hike. There's golfing there, there's whale watching, kayaking, and they have this thing there in Prince Rupert that's like a trolley food tour that's really short. It's only an hour and a half, but you go to 3 different food stops and you get to hang on the trolley. Now the trolley by itself, Diane, just gets meh kind of reviews in Prince Rupert. So the trolley might be a little commercial or something. I don't know what it is that people don't like about it, but it doesn't really get good reviews. So I would try those other things that I recommended and maybe the trolley food tour. And your cruise line should offer you some tours there. But yeah, that's our opening episode for our Alaska series. Does this make you want to go?
Always.
I really want to do a cruise tour to Alaska, by the way. I'm hoping that we can pull that off in the next couple of years because I'd love to experience the train. I'd love to try the lodges, get to the interior a bit more, and just see more of Alaska. It's such a magical destination, you guys. And get onto our website, CruiseTipsTV.com, and type in Alaska or your port, type in Skagway. You can look at our Alaska packing list, our Alaska do's and don'ts packing list. So many things. But thanks for joining me this week, Mr. Cruise Tips TV.
Of course.
You bet. All right, friends. Until next time, we'll see you on the high seas. Thanks for listening to Cruise Tips TV Unplugged. If you like our show and want to know more, check us out at CruiseTipsTV.com. You can also find us on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram by searching Cruise Tips TV. We'd love if you'd leave us a review wherever you're listening to this podcast, subscribe to the show, and tune in next week. Until next time, we'll see you on the high seas.